up, Two Times fam? It's your girl, Mrs. Tony Two Times, and I'm back with another video. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Hood Tales. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I invite you to join the Two Times family. Tap that subscribe button, hit the notification bell to get notified of all uploads. Be sure to like this video if you're rocking with the content. Comment down below and share your thoughts. Of course, always keeping it respectful. Feel free to share this video. Make sure you watch until the end to hear the whole story. In this episode, we will be talking about an alleged jealous lover, a botched hit for hire, and the tragic conclusion that left a family and community shattered. Alright fam, let's get right into it. This twisted story began almost 7 years ago on the evening of November 24th, 2015, when officers from the Linden, New Jersey Police Department were called to a home in the 900 block of Middlesex Street on a report of a shooting. Responding officers found 41-year-old Tyrita Julius, who had been shot 8 times, sitting in her car. Tyrita's 15-year-old daughter was seated in the front passenger seat of the car. She was grazed. Officers found the car crashed into a utility pole not too far from Tyrita's home, according to news reports. Officials told reporters as Tyrita's daughter was walking into the passenger side of the car, she noticed a man approaching her. The report continued on to say words were exchanged between them, and Tyrita was concerned for her daughter and told her to get in the car. Police said the shooting was targeted. Both Tyrita and her daughter were hospitalized and eventually recovered from their injuries. No arrests were immediately made in the brazen shooting of Tyrita and her daughter. 4 months into the investigation, on March 9, 2016, Tyrita's mother reported her missing after calls and texts to Tyrita's phone went unanswered. Officials learned that the day before, on March 8th, Tyrita had been with a woman described as a friend from Tinton Falls, New Jersey, but Tyrita did not return home, according to reports. The friend who Tyrita was with later identified as Jennifer Sweeney, a 32-year-old woman who Tyrita met through the Middlesex chapter of the Rough Riders Motorcycle Club. According to Daily Mail, while Tyrita was recovering from the November 2015 incident, Jennifer Sweeney visited her in the hospital. Although Tyrita's disappearance was deemed bizarre and mysterious, her family felt the prior attempt on her life and her disappearance were connected. According to her family members, it was out of the ordinary for the mother of 2 teenagers at the time to just vanish without letting someone know. Her mother told reporters she knew something was wrong when she didn't come home because Tyrita was always home. According to reports, Tyrita Julius's friend, Jennifer Sweeney, told her family that she and Tyrita had gone to lunch on Tuesday, March 8th, and then she dropped Tyrita off at the Long Branch train station at approximately 7 p.m. However, Linden police told reporters that they poured through the surveillance video from the station and there was no sign of Tyrita or her friend. Police also told Tyrita's family that the last ping from Tyrita's cell phone was near the train station. But days after her disappearance, her phone just went to voicemail and all of her credit cards were left at home. According to reports, Tyrita was last seen wearing a black sports team t-shirt with an orange image of a basketball on it. According to news reports, Tyrita was still in physical therapy for a bullet wound to her shoulder. So for her to miss her appointments just didn't sit right with her family. Investigators had offered a $15,000 reward for any information in Tyrita's disappearance. Days into her disappearance, law enforcement authorities from Union County, where the November 2015 incident took place, got in touch with authorities from Monmouth County, where Tyrita went missing, about the investigation. From there, a joint investigation was conducted into the whereabouts of Tyrita Julius and the circumstances surrounding her disappearance. According to a missing person update from April 2016, investigators never believed she got on the train in Long Branch the day she disappeared, as her friend had told family members. On August 16, 2016, 5 months after Tyrita went missing, her case took a major turn. The joint probe led investigators to the home of 32-year-old Andre Harris. According to the press release, officers found Tyrita's body buried in Andre Harris's backyard, wrapped in what looked like to be a tarp, 2 garbage bags, and had an electrical cord around her neck. As a part of their investigation, police searched the home of Andre Harris, located on Jolene Avenue in Long Branch, after he was picked up by police for a traffic warrant for unrelated offenses. And he confessed to his role in Tyrita's death. According to reports, Andre Harris was a high school friend and associate of Jennifer Sweeney, who officials said was also involved in Tyrita's slaying. Detectives also determined that Andre Harris was the gunman who shot Tyrita and her daughter in November 2015. Both Jennifer Sweeney and Andre Harris were arrested and charged in connection with Tyrita's murder and failed attempted murder. They were both indicted in December 2016. Jennifer Sweeney and her lawyers vehemently denied her involvement in the tragedy. According to reports, her attorneys said that Jennifer had no motive to harm Tyrita and they were close friends, not enemies. They told the court during initial court hearings that Jennifer Sweeney spent a significant amount of time visiting Tyrita in the hospital while she recovered from the shooting. Court records indicated that Jennifer Sweeney also spent time at family events with Tyrita and her family. However, Tyrita's family countered and said they always thought that Jennifer was off. Despite the revelation, Jennifer Sweeney and her attorneys maintained her innocence. In 2019, Andre Harris had reached a plea deal with prosecutors in exchange for a 16-year sentence in state prison and agreed to give testimony against Jennifer Sweeney. During Jennifer Sweeney's murder trial in September 2021, Andre Harris testified that the defendant was a jealous lover who suspected Tyrita of cheating on her. He also called her psychotic, according to reports. During the trial, he went on to quote Jennifer telling him, "If I can't have her, no one can." He also accused Jennifer Sweeney of threatening his life and the lives of his children if he did not shoot Tyrita with the weapon she had given him. That is when the first attempt on Tyrita's life took place. Andre Harris went on to testify that after the failed attempt, Jennifer drove up to his house in Long Branch with Tyrita deceased in her Jeep Cherokee and forced him at gunpoint to help her dispose of Tyrita's body. According to reports, Andre Harris didn't even know the beloved Tyrita Julius. Andre Harris's attorneys said he complied because he truly believed the threats made on his life and his family. They said he was scared to his core and he wanted to protect his son. According to court records, Jennifer Sweeney's attorney attempted to paint the prosecution's star witness as a pathological liar. However, prosecutors argued that Jennifer Sweeney did in fact arrange to have Tyrita Julius killed in 2015. But when she survived, Jennifer Sweeney didn't stop there. According to reports, Jennifer Sweeney used the fact of Tyrita's recovery as a way to work her way back into her life. She got close to Tyrita once more and allegedly strangled her to death with an electrical cord in March 2016. Court records went on to say that after that, Jennifer Sweeney and Andre Harris carried out the plan to dispose of Tyrita's body. Jennifer Sweeney joined friends and relatives of Tyrita in the months-long search for her body. But according to investigators, when Jennifer Sweeney did talk about spending time with Tyrita during her recovery, she seemed to not have been so happy to stick by her side as she and her defense team tried to argue in court. After the month-long trial, the jury found Jennifer Sweeney guilty on charges of first-degree murder, first-degree conspiracy, first-degree attempted hit, 3 weapons-related charges, second-degree desecration of human remains, and tampering with physical evidence. Months later, in May 2022, Jennifer Sweeney was sentenced to a total of 95 years in prison for the crimes. Jennifer Sweeney, now 38, must serve a minimum of 85% of both the 75-year life term for the murder and the 20-year term for the shooting under the provisions of New Jersey's No Early Release Act, meaning she will not become eligible for parole until she is more than 100 years old. So more than likely, Jennifer Sweeney will spend the rest of her natural life behind bars. Fam, this is such a senseless and heinous story. Tyrita Julius was so loved by her family and friends. She was described as one of the best people in the world to be around. Her family is absolutely heartbroken from their loss. According to news reports, her family was always suspicious of Jennifer Sweeney and knew she had something to do with Tyrita's disappearance and slaying. Tyrita obviously trusted her friend Jennifer and had no idea she was the alleged mastermind behind the shooting. The amount of deception and manipulation that took place in this case is absolutely frightening. I'm happy for the family that some kind of justice was served, but I know that still won't bring Tyrita back to her family. I can't imagine the pain and grief waiting all these years for some closure to this tragic loss of life. My deepest and sincerest condolences to Tyrita's family and friends. May her memory live on and may she rest in peace. Alright fam, tell me what you think about this story in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. This is your girl, Mrs. Tony 2 Times, and I'm out.